my breathing. Settle down and stop repeating amends. I feel like a ticking time bomb. Time bomb. Always seem to get the time. Always seem to turn wrong. I blow up and then they're all gone. All gone. So sick of saying hold on. Hold tight. I feel like a ticking time bomb.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting installment of Touchline Talk. It's normally at 2. It's 47 minutes late. Apologies. I was at the gym and I got distracted by making all the gains. Yeah? My bad. I'll try to make it 2 o'clock from now on. That was the sort of point of this series. My bad. In today's installment, we're going to be discussing, the derby again, I feel like. Maybe going into a bit more detail about some of the concerns that I have following it that I touched on in my post-match analysis video, exploring like what you guys made of the match as well. I know that we did that after the post-mortem as well, but I feel like maybe we can do it in a bit more detail today perhaps. But also, in fairness, we've also got to look to the future, haven't we? Because it's now the Champions League, which starts tonight, right? Not for City, but I'm pretty sure it starts tonight. Yeah, so Arsenal are playing, for example. So maybe we can even look ahead to the Napoli game as well and have a chat about that now that there's lots of fixture congestion. We're going to play Napoli. We're going to play Arsenal. I then think we have a relatively straightforward game. And then I believe we play Liverpool as well. So it's about to kick off in the world of City. Yeah, so it's Napoli, Arsenal. Oh, a couple of baby games because Huddersfield in the League Cup, home against Burnley, and then another Champions League game. Oh no, I thought we played Liverpool a bit sooner than that. I guess not. When do we play Liverpool then? Oh, it's not until November. For some reason I thought it was like early October that we played Liverpool, but no, we've got a fair few matches before then, so never mind. But we do play Brentford away, so that's not going to be easy, and Villa away, of course. So there are a couple of tricky games thrown in there. But how are we doing today? Let me know. Big up, says Jack. Watch Dortmund. Brilliant. Inclusion Donovan says something new about Pep, says Godry. It could do. And I guess that's maybe like the vibe of today's like show. Was that match, is that sort of an illustration of what is to come for City, or was it just like a bit of a one-off? Maybe we could talk about the positives and weaknesses of playing that sort of style in a bit more detail today, perhaps. Hello though, Mr. A. Fusscan says, still the midfield was spooky. Rodri Reinders, even G when he came on, very spooky. Yeah, let's be honest, the only good midfielder in the derby was Little Phil. Kieran says, you're lot singing, oh, Kevin De Bruyne, if he scores against us. Well, I'm not going to be in the stadium because I don't go to the Champions League games anymore. So I'll be doing a watch-along for that. Hello, Bro Hates Driving. Man, you played like they were on ChatGPT, yeah. Hello, Naveen. Fenway says, I feel good about the performance, but kind of feeling like this might have been another Wolves-type game where we just did great against a shite team. Change Willie Jack, Willie. Naveen says that it's a false dawn. And hello, Macalo says, big up. Yeah, guys, as you are coming into the stream, as I say, apologies for the delay. Please make sure to leave a like on the video. It is free and it helps support your boy for today's Touchline Talk. The more people that like, that tells YouTube this is a good show. That recommends the stream more to other people. We get more viewers. Nobbins is a happy boy. I get to buy more Pepsi Max. So, like this. Just price. Basically, Naveen, just too expensive to justify it nowadays. Also, I think this is controversial, but just like side note, I mean, the reason is price, but also just like side note, I don't like going to evening games. I know that's controversial. I know lots of people do. I really don't like it. Now, maybe that's just because doing the evening game, that means I've then got to do a post-mortem straight after, so I don't, get to have food and go to bed until bare late. So maybe that's why. It's why, because I've got to make content around it. But even when I was, just a fan, I was never the biggest fan of evening games. Again, controversial. I preferred early kickoff. I loved having a 12:30 on a Saturday because it meant that if you win, you get your game out of the way, and you've got the whole weekend of just chilling out, because it's like, okay, well, if Liverpool or whoever drop points, then that's great, but if they don't, then it's whatever. So I actually prefer early kickoff. I know lots of people don't. I get that. Maybe it's because I'm a content creator. I don't know. And I go to the games, but there we go. Thank you, Akash. Hello there, Lee. Hello, Sarthak. Jack likes evening games. Yeah, that's reasonable. Get best max tattoo. Okay, yeah. So this may be like a really interesting comment that we can kick things off with. Hello, Blue. Good profile picture. Luke, bad profile picture, mate. Sort it out. Come on, get it up here. Get a proper profile picture, sir. It doesn't have to be a picture of you, but a picture of something. Yeah. Yeah. So. My sorts of thoughts. Oh, sorry, last one. Is that you don't like evening games because your job as a streamer, or just as a fan? It's mainly the former. But as I say, even before I was like a YouTuber, I still preferred early kickoff because of the vibe of. Again, it's prefaced on if you win, but if you win, then you can just enjoy the weekend in respect to the football. And it's like, I can sit back knowing my team's won, and I can just watch everyone else struggle and fight over the points and that sort of thing. Whereas if you play last and the other teams have won, which they usually have, then it's sort of like, oh my God, even if we win, it's like I can't even really applaud it that much. It's just like, oh God, we've done the bare minimum. Yeah, so this is something that I'd like to touch on today. Maybe we can speak about the individual performances. As I say, it's whatever you guys want to talk about. Of course, I do think it probably makes sense to talk a bit about the derby and play style and that sort of thing. Apologies, by the way, before we get into this, and I'll keep delaying it. That there wasn't. I don't think there was a single Touchline talk last week. That's because I was basically spending all of my time on the Donnarumma video. That's also why there was no Ask Nobbins, and that's also why there was no Man United tactical preview, because all my time and effort was being invested into the Donnarumma video. I'm very happy with the result. I'm very happy with the feedback. So I believe that it has been worth it. Sam, I know it says welcome to, but I know that you are renewing your membership. Thank you so much. So it says welcome to the Ultras Club, but real ones know this is not your first month as an Ultra. Thank you so much, Sam, for your continued support. Your random footballer is Stephen Pienaar. Yeah? Oh, it didn't. This paper doesn't get stuck to my face like the other one. No, it does. I just didn't lick it hard enough. There we go. Well done. Big up to you, Sam. Thank you so much for supporting. And there we go. Stephen Pienaar. We love to see it. Right, I keep getting distracted. Yeah, so normal service will resume. I won't be doing an intense analysis video every single week. So hopefully normal service will resume. Now, I think that this has split a lot of people, to be fair. And I'd be very interested to get a gauge of the thoughts in today's chat. And there's no right or wrong answer here, by the way. And I think that actually there could be a bit in the middle. But my question is, I just dropped it. Did you like the more direct approach from City, i.e., forfeiting possession and as Blue says here, letting United self-destruct? And I guess follow-up question: would you like to see a bit more of that? Yeah, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. I think everyone knows my thoughts on this, and I'll get into a bit more detail. But what did you guys think of it? Because again, I've seen this split. Lots of people were really happy with the more direct approach because, yeah, United are shit. They'll make mistakes, that sort of thing. But then I've seen other people say, do we really want to be giving up that much control against a better side? That sort of thing. So what did you guys make of it? The title of today's show is... are City evolving, and is this the new version of City. I actually don't think it is, but I'd be very interested in the first instance to hear what you guys have to say, because again, I feel like this has split a lot of the fan base. I've seen, like in my comment section, I've seen loads after my analysis. I've seen loads of people say really loving the new direct approach. Let's keep doing it. On the other hand, I've seen loads of people saying we can't do that. Other people have been saying it was fine to do it like today, but I'd be very concerned if we did it in other games. So let me know what's the general consensus. That would be really interesting to get the sort of vibe of this chat. That'd be really interesting. So if you guys can give me your thoughts, and we can maybe have a chat about that and like the positives, negatives, the cons, and the gains. That'd be really interesting. That football will be played when Shirky comes back and plays alongside Foden, Silva, and Kevin De Bruyne, says Andile. That would be the dream, to have Foden and Shirky somehow operating in the centre at the same time. Definitely. Maybe the future will be a hybrid, says Mr. A. I think that this is probably, I think Jack alluded to it as well. I think this is where I'm at with it. I think it depends on the opposition for sure. Like, if we do try that against like Liverpool, we're going to have a bad time. So I think it does depend on the opposition. Maybe it depends on how the other team play also, because United, we know that they're more of a counter-attacking side. They can't counter-attack if we give them the ball. Is that the thought process against a very specific opponent in Man United? Again, we're operating with a very small sample size here, so it's quite tricky to properly deduce. It's quite tricky to deduce. I would assume, I'll get into why, that it's just going to be because it was United. And we know that they're basically bad. So it's fine, you can get away with it. But I think get away with it is the operative term there. We don't have enough second ball winners for this approach, says Sarthak. Puneet prefers the Centurion style of play. Kieran likes it because it plays to the forward strengths. There is no doubt it absolutely plays to the strengths of Haaland, because he's getting, certainly if the idea from like goal kicks is to just punt it up, then he's definitely going to try to get a touch in it. So he's getting a lot more action on the ball. So that is absolutely correct. It will absolutely play, and I think it will play to Marmoush as well. I'd even say Savio. You could argue it plays to the strengths of Foden also. Sam says there weren't so many hasty passes, so Sam's happy. Fenway says, no way most teams will let us play through the middle like that. Won't be possible against teams in a low block. That's a good point, Fenway, and that's a really good statement. I think that summarised it perfectly, hasn't it? If we see football defensive-wise as there are sort of, this is oversimplifying it, but generally speaking, there are like three forms of block or pressing. You can have a low block, which is obviously very defensive, and you're not really, although to be fair, a block and a press aren't really the same, but I guess it depends. Again, trying to simplify, you can have low block, uber defensive. You can have more of a high press, which is uber offensive, and then there's more of a passive mid-block sort of thing. Now, I think that sort of strategy, definitely won't work for low block, really. I don't know why you would do that. You might as well just play out from the back. You might as well do that. The mid-block, it can work, because that's what United basically did. They didn't really properly press us too much, so it can absolutely work against them. And I suppose it could also work against these more high-pressing teams as well, to an extent. Absolutely. So yeah, that's a good summation, I think. That's a good summation. Spring likes it to a point. Direct approach because of Donnarumma, so yes, says Godry. If it works, I have no complaints, but generally speaking, this isn't the best way to play, says Manny. We did it against Amorim specifically. Marmoush in the system would be disgustingly effective. Yeah, he's another player who would definitely benefit from it, for sure. Long pace and carry plays will thrive, but players like Roger won't have much effect, says Yash. That's a good point, I think. I think we should be able to get close to where we were with the players we have now taller, more physical players added, but we need time to develop the chemistry. Yeah. I would be very concerned, personally, if this became the norm. I really don't think it will become the norm, and there's a very good reason for that. And that's simply because, and Metali's alluded to it here, that we don't have the players to do it against better sides than United. And I think we need to stress here, United were worse than Wolves against us. And we can still be happy with our performance because you still got to score 3 goals. It doesn't matter who the opponent is in the Premier League. It doesn't matter if you're playing against... You know, how many goals did we score against Southampton last season? The worst team in the league. 1. In 180 minutes of football. And they were the worst team in the league. We only scored 1. So we still have to give ourselves some credits here for scoring a number of goals, even if they are against a poor team. So I don't want to go too far the other way and too negative. But the second goal is, the third goal as well, to be fair. But and even the first goal, actually, not all of them. But the second goal in particular is one because we're alluding to the more direct approach, the more chaotic approach, whatever you want to say. Now, that goal comes about because we kicked it out of play for a throw-in because it's a goal kick. It got to the point where we decided Donnarumma wasn't going to take the goal kicks anymore. So Gvardiol took the goal kick. He plays it to O'Reilly. He tries to find, I think, Doku on the left side, but it just goes out for a throw-in. Now, thankfully, United were so bad that from that throw-in, Mbeumo, with the most horror touch ever, under no pressure, just plays it back out. City get a throw in, and then I think from the subsequent throw in, City score the second goal. So based on what happened, you could argue that was a bit of that was a tactical masterstroke by O'Reilly, kicking it into touch, like rugby, and then forcing United into the error. That wasn't strictly what happened though, because United made their own error. But that got me thinking about the evolution. And I think this team could do this to an extent. Remember PSG last season? A few times, it was very funny to watch, PSG would just kick it into touch. They would just, from goal kicks, from a kickoff, they would just play it right into the corner for a throw-in. Now, why did they do that? They did that because they knew that they were more likely to have joy pressing the opponent high up the pitch than building out from the back. Now, I actually wouldn't mind at all if, as part of this more direct approach, which inherently involved, having more throw-ins, because you're obviously going to do that if you're playing it out wide. I wouldn't mind if City changed their pressing structure into a far more intense one like PSG did. I think City have a few of the players to do that. I don't think we've got all the players to do that, but I will say that if we are going to do that more direct approach, and once again, I don't think we will, but if we are, then that could be one of the benefits of it. Because to be fair, you are keeping the opponent away from your goal, and it's sort of like a free counter-pressing opportunity. But City aren't doing that right now. We're being very passive in the press. So maybe that's something that we can evolve into, and I do hope we do ditch this passive press, because I'm not enjoying it at all so far this season. That's just a brain thought that I had, I know it doesn't really track because it's from kickoff rather than just goal kicks, but I'm just trying to find interesting workarounds and solutions to it. It would require probably different personnel, certainly a different out of possession intensity and vibe. That could be an interesting thing to do. I don't know. Maybe that's a pipe dream or a weird situation. But outside of that, I'm not I'm not happy with the idea of City just giving the ball away willy-nilly to the opponent. And again, if we do that against Arsenal, if we do that against Liverpool, if we do that against Newcastle, if we do that against the better sides in this league, then we will have a bad time. I think that we are still bottom of the second ball league table, for example. If you play more direct, that's fine, but what you are doing is you are turning it into a game of aerials and second balls. We were actually pretty decently in the air against United. Like, if you watch my analysis video, you'll see the aerial duels amount. We actually dominated United in the aerial duels. I think a lot of that was because of Haaland's defensive headers, but still. But we were still really poor in the second balls and loose balls especially. We won 28% of our loose balls against United. Now, if we do that against Arsenal and we end up losing and then we end up winning, less than a third of our loose balls against a midfield comprised of Zubimendi and Rice and Moreno, and with their defenders like Gabriel and Saliba, we're going to have a bad time. So I think it does depend on the opponent. That's a good point, Godry. Yeah, United just had two midfielders. And we still lost the second ball battle. United actually had more second ball wins than us. And as you say, they didn't even really have a midfield. So that doesn't really fill me with confidence. I'm not actually against that style of play inherently. I'm a little bit concerned if a team that I don't think is set up to do that does that more consistently. I think that's the problem for me. That is the problem. If we had fantastic duel winners in the midfield and fantastic second ball winners and fantastic loose ball recoverers, you know the names I'm going to say: Baleba, Paquetá, Bruno Guimaraes, Caicedo, Rice, Bellingham. A lot of players we were linked with but didn't ultimately sign. If we had some of those players rather than signing Cherki and signing Reinders, I could totally get it a little bit more. The fact that we haven't is interesting to me. I still don't think the midfield is complemented by that style. I still don't think that. It'll be interesting to see what happens next summer. Will we go back in for Morgan Gibbs-White, for example? Will we go in for more, a Wharton, who is capable of doing that as well, the second balls? That will be really interesting to see. If that's the long-term situation, then I think that's pretty fine. More short-term, I have concerns, I have doubts over whether it's going to give us any success this year. That's why I hope that it's not something that we do primarily, certainly not against Arsenal. But that's me rambling about it. What do you guys reckon, though? Let me see what you guys are saying. Rowan says, would rather not rely on our opponent's mistakes to win a match. Yeah, and I think that there's a difference, isn't there, between... There's a difference between your opponent making a mistake that isn't forced, like all three goals, basically, that we had, versus you force your opponent into a mistake because of like great pressing or something. That's a very different thing, isn't it? So if we added that, I'd be far less concerned and far less worried. Right now, our out of possession structure is really, really passive. We are setting up in a 4-1-4-1, sort of like, as I say, mid-block, where Rodri's basically... What's the term I'm after? He's not able to apply his fantastic defensive work because it is impossible to do so in the structure that we've provided to him. There's nothing that he can really do, and that's not his fault. It's because we are playing him like that. We're just giving the opponent far too much space. The only time we're really properly engaging in a really aggressive, direct, intense action is when the fullbacks jump up. But if we have a situation, as we did against United, where one of their wide forwards can just pin O'Reilly or pin Kusanov so they can't jump up to their fullback, then we are giving our opponent a free pass through our midfield, and we are also giving them a free pass for their fullback or whoever's picking up the ball in that sort of like wide area to just pick up their head in all the space and have all the time in the world. It's something that we need to address, definitely. I thought it actually worked quite well against Spurs. It didn't work well against Brighton. Didn't work well against United. It was fine against Wolves because of the opposition. It's something that we do need to change, I think. I'd be very, very surprised, very, very surprised if this 4-1-4-1 lasts the entire season. I don't see it. I think we've got to go back to a more compact 4-3-3. Or if you really want to, you could just have like a double pivot and have a 2. Anything that's better than a 1. I don't like the 4-1-4-1 because it's emphasis on 1. It's like that 3-1-6 that we tried to do last season. It's massive emphasis on the 1. I don't like that. I don't like Rodri being that 1 all on his own. I think he needs more support in there, certainly off ball. And that can be achieved, as I say, either by just playing a 4-3-3 in all phases, having it more compact. That could be remedied by being a bit more intense in the pressing as well. Or it could be addressed by playing a midfield 2 instead. I'm not sure. But that's what I would like to see going forwards. Couldn't believe Diaz was winning aerials against Šeško. Yeah, he looked... I don't know what his numbers were. Shall we have a look at his numbers? But it did feel like he was doing well with the aerials. Which we know has been a weakness in his game. So it's just about it's just about keeping up with that as well now, isn't it? Because we all know that Diaz isn't particularly good in the air. Aerial duels 4 out of 6. Yes, so 67%. And I think how tall Šeško? Šeško only won 3 out of 8. I feel like he's a tall lad. So that's very impressive, to be fair, yeah. Arne's frailty is a part of the evolution process. To me, I think that there are differences between structures that just aren't perfect and need more work on them versus a structure which is fundamentally flawed. For example, I don't think it matters who is playing for Amorim's Manchester United in that midfield and in defence. Unless you are dealing with, like, the absolute best midfield in the world, I don't think there is any midfield duo that can realistically do what Amorim requires his midfield to do. I don't think there's any defenders who can do what is required that Amorim's asking them to do. I think that's just a fundamental flaw in structure. And I do think that it's likewise for City. Not to the same extent. I don't think that we can have these jumping fullbacks whilst also having a passive mid-block, whilst also leaving Rodri horrendously isolated, whilst not having second ball pressing monsters in midfield. I don't think that combination can work ultimately. So I'd like to think that it's just the players will get used to it, they'll get better, you know. And they will get better at it. You know, Rodri and Ryan just won't have performances like they did on Sunday, will they? They will get better. But even if they're sort of like at the absolute top of their game, I still think that there are too many flaws for me to back it. Do you know what I mean? There are too many flaws. Wharton's a must, says Burn the Dish Soap. Great name. Get Wharton, says Ariman. Ariman, sort your profile picture out, sunshine. Come on. Adash, you too. Come on, mate. That's boring. Sort it out. Yeah? Sort it out. Someone's asking me to do a Napoli preview. Do you guys want me to do Champions League previews and post-match analysis as well? I don't think I can do them for all of them. Because, like, if we play I don't know what our Champions League games are, I've forgotten. If we play, like, fucking Bratislava, and we beat them 5-0, I ain't doing a preview or an analysis for that, I'll be real. But I could maybe do them for the bigger games, like Napoli, for example. Would you guys like to see that? I can do that. If so, let me know who we're playing in the Champions League. My God, do we have any easy games? What the hell? Hello? I don't think we have any easy games. Yeah, we just don't. Yeah, fairs, man. Well, I guess the easiest one is fucking Villarreal. Because even Boda Glimt's away. Good God, man. Villarreal, sorry, not Villarreal. We have no easy games in the Champions League. You'll have to see that. You really do. Okay, that's cute. All the potentially easy games were fucking away, like against Monaco. Or Villarreal. Or Boda Glimt. I guess that's good, to be fair. We've got tricky games at home. The De Bruyne Classico, yeah. Awesome one of McTominay or Højlund scoring Thursday. Yeah, crazy. It'll be a De Bruyne unreal long pass into a McTominay header, won't it? Some bullshit like that. Yeah, it's going to be tricky because a win is important, but we've only got like 2 or 3. We've only got like 2 or 3 days until Arsenal, so I don't know. Cantor's built for that midfield. Indeed, clutch, yeah, for United midfield 100%. First Naveen. Jack doesn't want for the groups, just for the big games. What about big games in the groups, Jack? What about your beloved Dortmund, hello? Have I watched Napoli this season? Fuck no. But I can watch a match for the preview. For the big games. Does Napoli count as a big game, chat? Does Napoli count as a big game? Let me know. Let me know if it does. I don't know if it does or not. I don't like to talk about next summer. We don't even know how the season will go and how the players everyone wants will fare for the teams. They could be worse than ours. Oh yeah, and I'm not even talking about transfers. I don't. I'd rather we just play like a different way. But if we are going to play this way, then I think it's only something that can be addressed with signings, to be honest with you. Pack the back line with 4 centre-backs. Rodri, Tijani, Foden, midfield 3. Real width holding wingers and Haaland. Start a winning streak, please. We do need a winning streak, to be fair. But it's a tricky time to start one. It's a tricky time to start a winning streak, to be fair. That's not wrong. Yes, because of KDBK guys are all saying it's a big game. That's fair. Why do you think Pep is still insisting on a 4-1-4-1? No, I don't know, Kat. I don't know. Trying to think. This isn't just me like having a break. I don't have an answer for you. I don't really have an answer for you. This is what I've been trying to figure out. Should we brainstorm? Why would you play a 4-1-4-1, a passive 4-1-4-1, when you know your midfield is getting a little bit shafted? Why would you keep doing that instead of playing a more compact midfield 3? Yeah, I'm all ears because I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. If anyone can, if we can brainstorm, let me know. Yeah. Wow. I don't know why, sir. I wish I had the answer. Maybe it'll become more obvious as the season progresses. But right now, I don't know. I don't have the answer for you. Please do a Bodo Glimt one from a Norwegian, says a running journey. Hey, they're my Norwegian team. I've got a Bodo Glimt shirt. Big up. Do I reckon against Arsenal, Ake starts over O'Reilly? It's against Madueke, isn't it? It wouldn't. I guess it wouldn't surprise me. But if you do that, then you're just going to lose a bit of offensive function that O'Reilly gives you, aren't you? That's the only concern. I don't really know. It's tricky now because I really thought that Pep was going to be... I thought he was going to lock into this 2-3 because he was so desperate to keep it intact when Aïnouri went off injured against Spurs. But he's already gone back. He's already had a 3-2 as well. So I guess it could be either or, couldn't it? And I suppose that if he doesn't trust Núñez, then it would have to be Kusanov there and therefore a back 3. Wouldn't it? Big up to Tony, one of the biggest supporters of the channel. Another Norwegian, big up. Fortune for you, Tony. Then we'll come to your super chats. Compassion will cure more than condemnation. There you go. Always be positive and kind and empathetic, guys. That's what that's saying. Big up. I agree. There's lots of fragilities, but our attack's looking more fluid, not just because of Shite United, because of Foden and Doku drifting and Holland. Yeah, there's no doubts, Tony, that those three were the best players on the pitch. Haaland looked fantastic. Foden was excellent. Doku looks so much better when Foden's on the pitch, and he also looks so much better when he's got box crashes and options. He could have had, I know he had 2 assists, but really, he should have had 3. Like that ball, like the one moment, I actually edited out the bit from the analysis video because it was again a little bit too long, but I had like a whole 5-minute section on that midfield move, the only good midfield move in the whole game involving Rodri and Reinders, where like Diaz fizzes it into Reinders. Reinders first time touches it into Rodri, takes a touch, clips it to the wing. Nico O'Reilly's on the left. He plays it to Doku, and then Doku finds Reinders, and it should be a goal. So yeah, Doku is absolutely wonderful. And look what happens if you give him these proper runners and proper options. He will have a good time. He will have a good time. I still see the value in Doku, and I'm going to keep... And I'm still seeing that value, to be fair. Even in like games where he's not been particularly good, there's always going to be value in a player who can get you up the pitch out of nowhere, especially if we are struggling with our build-up and our first phase work, as we have been this season, to be fair. A player like that's always going to be valuable. Whether that's enough on its own, that's a different question, but there's always going to be value, even if like Doku's not playing particularly well. So I like Doku. You guys know I'm a big fan. Fortune for Agent Manav007. Be direct. That's about this stream. It's about City's way of playing. Be direct. Usually, one can accomplish more that way. Well, guys, I'm going to end the stream because the fortune cookie, that's not cap, that's literally what it says. The fortune cookie has literally decided this is how City should be playing. Be direct. One can accomplish more that way. The fortune cookie has spoken. Yeah? You can shove your analysis and tactics up your arse because the Haaland fortune cookie has spoken. That's funny. That's really funny. Do I trust Nunes as right back? I don't trust any of my right backs. This is what I've been saying. We've been needing a right back for over a year now. We've needed a right back since 2023, I think you could say. Arguably, that's when it started. There's no doubt last season that we needed one. And if last season was no doubt we needed one, I have no idea what this summer was. I don't know yet, Fireborn. Basically, the best team that we can put out is... So, it's going to have Rodri in it. It's going to have Foden in it. It's going to have Haaland in it. I think it has to have Doku in it by definition because of like injuries and what's not. Yeah. Just a bit concerned because Arsenal are quite good, aren't they? Saka starting us as not Madueke. Yeah, but have you seen Madueke? Have you seen his start to his Arsenal career? It's pretty good. He's looking pretty sharp. The cookie agrees me, it does, Tony. Agent says, can we play Shirky right wing and bench Bob Savio? Yeah, you can play Shirky right wing, but he's not a right winger. That's the thing. That doesn't mean he's a bad option there, but I don't want him playing there at right wing. I want him to be playing more in the centre so he can impact central areas. But you can, I guess you can, and maybe that's the starting point, like as he's just starting his City career, perhaps, I don't know. Right, we shouldn't be playing in midfield off ball. Don't know what we were thinking against Spurs. Why am I playing him at right central midfield in his first home game? It's insane to me. But on ball, I would like to give him access to central areas because you're gonna miss out on so much if you play him just as a right winger. That's the only problem. Love that from you. Yeah, I did do a Kasanov analysis video. That's actually, I think that's my most viewed video. So big up to Uzbekistan. I think it's got 90,000 views. It's also a very good video, to be fair. Like, I don't want to blow my own trumpet too bad. That's a lie. I do. It is a very good video, to be fair. So yeah, so big up to you for following from that. I liked scouting Kusanov. He was very fun to watch. Thank you so much, Jack. It says you're a member for 1 month, but you got gifted one, so this should be your second month. But either way, thank you so much, Jack, for renewing your membership. Thank you so much for supporting me as always, you beautiful human being. Your random football, speaking of Arsenal, your random football is Granit Xhaka. You know, don't know how you think about that, but there we go. And Jack says, can you redo the entire Kusanov analysis video so it's 20 plus minutes of pro-Kusanov propaganda, brackets lie if you have to? My video was actually very positive with Kusanov. I had some concerns, and those concerns are still here. I think one of them is that like he doesn't have a switch in his head that tells him that he needs to calm down sometimes. Now that's a good thing, because it's like, certainly in a derby, you want like a player who's gonna twat into opponents, that sort of thing. But there were a fair few moments where like he just didn't need to give away a foul. Like he should have chilled out a little bit. He should have really chilled out a little bit. And he didn't need to give away the foul. So it's about striking that balance, isn't it, of still retaining all of that aggression, but being more like aware of when to deploy it and when to just calm down a little bit. That's still an element of his game that is present, and he does need to chill out. And that's something that I addressed in the video. Maybe that just comes with time and maturity, because he is still young at the end of the day. But that is definitely, if he wants to like if he wants to become like, you know, a starting centre-back for a City side that wins the title, then he's going to have to add that to his game. There's no reason why he can't. Again, I'm sure it's just about maturity and experience and time and that sort of thing. Doku better drifting the hugging the touchline, says Tony. I like both, to be fair. So I like both. So like, if O'Reilly's able to give him access sometimes to those central areas, why not? So Donnarumma is a good signing for us or not? What do you think of the first match, says Razad? It's far too early for to tell, to be honest. The first match was basically a perfect allegory for my analysis video, so I'm very happy about that. That the whole match was basically just a representation of my video, so I was very, very happy with very chuffed with the work I put into it. As I concluded in that video, if he's able to be this consistent shot stopper, then you can absolutely argue the trade-off will be worth it. That will have to continue and persist, of course, and we'll see what happens at the end of the season, of course. But it's a very good start. So if you can have a game like that every single game from now to the end of the season, then absolutely the trade-off will have been worth it. We'll just have to see. I hope that is the case, but we shall see if that is indeed the case. But as I say, it's a good start, absolutely. I still think it's an odd signing. My opinion hasn't changed there. And I don't think it ever will, because of the options that were available. But time will tell. Kusanov has to start, says Ultimate. You guys know me. If I could have, you know, sort of like my dream centre-back pairing, you guys know that I would like to have Gvardiol Kusanov as my pairing. That would be lovely. That would be lovely. That would be my preferred partnership. I've been saying that for a while, to be fair. Guys, there's over 200 people watching, but there's not even 100 likes. What are we playing at? Come on, get the likes up. Get it up here. Get it up here. Come on, let's get to 150. You know the drill. Well, let's start with 115 and then see how we get from there. Pay rent, leave a like. Pay rent, leave a like. Savio or Bob as your right winger against Arsenal, says AP. I'd run Bob. Savio's only played a few minutes of football this season. He looks a little bit rusty against United as well. He wasn't particularly good. Bob, however, has been brilliant. So I'd definitely start Bob based on that, and just like give Savio more minutes. So for example, like we've got a League Cup game coming up, haven't we? I think that would be the first start for maybe even actually, to be fair, maybe I'd start him against Napoli, to be fair. I might do that because I might want to rest Doku. But certainly start him against Huddersfield, maybe even start him against Burnley. That's a good couple of matches. And then hopefully he's like back up to full match sharpness. I think I did. To be fair, in my post-mortem, I think I absolutely did. Oh, I don't think that's fair at all. That was the one from Jack. Big up to Jack. Oh, Jack, you're a fraud then. No cap. We need the edge, says Razad. Keane will love Kusanov. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Iron Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Can we play Don't Lose Football like Arsenal did? Take 2 to 3 chances, score, then defend like a wall, holding up front, and Donnarumma goal should make that work. I mean, if you take your chances, I guess yes. And that's the thing, and that's maybe something I should have touched on more in the video. City were very clinical against United. I know Hall missed an open net and Ryan just missed a one-on-one, but generally speaking, we were very clinical against United as well, to be fair. We're not going to get many chances against Arsenal because they do have the best defensive record in the league. They've only conceded 1 goal, haven't they? Am I being stupid? I feel like I'm not. I'm going to check. Oh, though, to be fair, Spurs have also only conceded 1 goal. Oh, and Palace. They've got the joint best record then defensively. They do have the best goal difference. Yeah. And that goal they conceded was like a world-class free kick. We'll see. Well, if I dislike, then you'll get banned. You'll get banned for real, for real. You'll get Bernardo right wing and you'll have to just deal with it. We better not. We better not, because he was... No. No. If Bob was playing on Sunday, there's nothing that Bernardo did that Bob couldn't have done. Really. Really. Or Savio, I guess. I test out Savio against Napoli and take him out. Arsenal invert their left back. And with a direct style, for me, Savio's the better option, especially if Arsenal will press us higher up the pitch. That's a very good point, AP, to be fair. Yeah, you're right, because Calafiori does tend to... Well, actually, he does both. Sometimes he does overlap, but you're right. I think this season so far, Arsenal have mainly played more of like a diamond, and Calafiori's been like that left central midfielder and like that sort of Gvardiol role that he has done before. So you are right, therefore, that the space would be in behind their left side, so our right. That makes it a little bit trickier justifying Kusanov at right back, I guess, because obviously he's a less offensive option, but maybe just putting all your eggs in the Savio basket in that instance. Not sure. If we beat Arsenal with a 4-1-4-1, will your opinion on it change? No, because it's not about beating another team, because I don't care about the result. It's about the performance for me. And also, 1 game isn't enough to do that. If we beat Arsenal and Napoli and the next 5 games and the performances are brilliant and it's all because of the 4-1-4-1, then yeah, I'll warm up to it for sure. But we don't do results-based analysis on this channel. It's all about the performance. Who else is scared? Yeah, we're all scared of that, B, definitely. How strong would I go for Napoli? There's got to be some rotation. There has to be some rotation because we've got 2 days of rest, which is actually training, and then we play Arsenal away. So there has to be a relative degree of rotation. I wouldn't make wholesale changes, but I would change... I wouldn't start Foden against Napoli. I wouldn't start Rodri against Napoli. I would start Haaland, to be fair. I wouldn't start Gvardiol, because he's only just come back from injury. And those are 3 key players. So, I wouldn't be starting any of them against Napoli, I don't think, because because of how imminent the Arsenal game is and how important that game is as well. You can still put out a really strong team. Like, you can still have a midfield of, Nico, Reinders, and, like, well, to be fair, we've got lots of injured players, haven't we? Nico, Reinders, and Lewis, I guess. You can still have a strong attack of Haaland, Savio, and Bob. You can still have a strong back four. You can start Ake instead of Gvardiol. You can have Kusanov at right centre back and maybe Nunes at right back, and then O'Reilly at left back. So you can still have a very strong team. You can definitely still have a very strong team, no doubt about it. But I think some key players you can't justify starting because of the proximity of the Arsenal game, which is very important. And if we lose that, then I know it's early days, but if we lose that, then and Liverpool win their next game, and who will they even play him? It's a Merseyside derby, but it is at Anfield. So Liverpool will win. We will be 9 points behind Liverpool, 6 points behind Arsenal, 5 games played, and we'll have lost 3 games. So, sadly, because our start was so poor, we're now in a position where we can't really afford to not go incredibly strong for those matches, because that match becomes incredibly important. Because if we lose it, then I can't really see a way back. Because we'd have to go on some mental run, like a properly insane run. If you start the season losing 3 games, that's mad. You've basically already used all your quota of losing games for the title. If you want to get 90 points, you can't lose more than 5 games, realistically. It's very tricky to do so. You know what I mean? Is Shirky back for Arsenal? No, he's not here for another couple months, I believe. I think midfield will be Nico, Rico, and maybe Mukasa. Oh, okay. That could be interesting. Mukasa get on the pitch. Be an interesting one to give him a start immediately like that. Ancelotti will sit deep and allow us to camp in their own half. He will then unleash KDB, says Pez. Do you think Doku should start against Arsenal? Yes. We'll let Fireball and Cook what's he said. My midfield 3, Phillips as a 6, Lewis as the 8, Bernardo as the 10. This guy. Although Pep did say that Phillips will have a chance. He said he will have a chance. So maybe this will be his opportunity to shine. Yeah, I thought I was having a stroke there. Yeah. Thank you guys for confirming. I was like, wait, Ancelotti, when did this happen? When did that happen? Random question. Should we sell Nico? No. No chance. Yeah, it meant Conte. Yeah, that's fair. What midfield 3 would I rock up with at the Emirates as Cams? I'd go with... well, let's be honest. It does not matter what midfield we put out. We are not going to win a physical battle. It doesn't matter if we put out Rodri, Nico, Reinders. Or Rodri, Nico... Is there an even more solid midfield? I don't know. Fucking Rodri, Nico, Calvin Phillips. We're not going to be able to get the physical better of Rice and Moreno and Zubamendi or any combination or whatever they go for. It ain't going to happen. So I'd probably you've got to have Rodri and Foden in there. That is a non-negotiable, absolute non-negotiable. And I probably would still keep Reinders in the side. Even I know that he's not been particularly impressive since Wolves, but I don't care. I'd still play Reinders, to be honest with you. So I'd run the same midfield 3. That's my favourite midfield. You guys know that. That's the one. That is the one. Yes, it is, Ed. Yes, it is. God. What's your problem? Calvin Phillips Ballon d'Or. Yeah, exactly. Where is it? There it is. Naipan's on loan, man. To Borough. Unless Borough are playing Napoli. Do I think this team can beat Arsenal? Probably not. But, you know. Do I rate Nikuji? Yeah, I do rate Nikuji a lot. I like him a lot. No worries at all, Pez. It's fine. I was just a little bit confused then. We need Nunes and Kusano for Arsenal, says Razad. I'm surprised you think they won't press us. Oh, I think they will. I think they will press us. I don't see why they wouldn't. Arsenal always do that. That's what I mean. So that's why I wouldn't mind playing grinders, because I don't think you can win the physical battle anyway. My take hasn't changed. Puneet, no, it didn't, Puneet. Have you just joined though? Thank you so much. But no, your thing didn't come through. It's not. Has it come through for anyone else? Let me know. Thank you so much for joining, Puneet. But no, it hasn't come through. I don't know how it works. Maybe like try closing the stream and coming back and see if it gives you the option. I don't know. But thank you so much, Puneet, for joining the channel. Love that from you. Big W's in the chat for Puneet, please. Barca's midfield three is no physicality unless you play Casado. What they do is they dominate the ball. Yeah, and that's what I mean. This is why I'm not really interested in trying to match Arsenal up for physicality. If you try to do that, you're going to lose that battle every single time. It's like trying to match up, Newcastle's physicality with Bruno, Gillinton, and Tonali. You're not going to win the battle, so you might as well try to win in another way, and you do so with your fantastic first touch players and that sort of thing, and your attackers. So that's why I'm like more than happy to stick with the midfield that we went with. I know that Harare is the capital of Zimbabwe because I have a friend from Zimbabwe. Big up. Naveen says he'd take a draw. In isolation, yes, but the problem is that we've played ourselves into such a shit position that we can't really afford to drop more points. Now, I'm not going to be, upset if we draw, obviously, because it is, in isolation, a good result. But I don't think we can win the title if we fail to win 3 of our opening 5 games. That's all I'm thinking. That's all I'm thinking. Exactly, AP. And this is what I want his final form to be fair. This is what I want his final form to be, with a bit more box crashing. Because I know that he can do this. This is the thing. I know that he can do this. I've seen him do it. He did it against United. He's done it against Real Madrid. He's done it against Everton. He did it against West Ham on the final day of the season. He's done it on a number of occasions. We know he can do it. He just needs to be given the opportunity, and he will take it, as we saw. Since we can't win the physical battle, how can we win the technical battle with Donnarumma in the build-up, says Cams. I offer a solution, Cams, in my Donnarumma analysis video. Go give it a watch after this one. It is very early in the season, but again, it just seems unlikely. That's all I'm saying. It just seems a little bit unlikely if you drop that many points, unless a mental run is put together. And of course, we know the City can do that. We know he can do that. Sorry, we know that we can do that. But not based on the early evidence that we have so far. That's all. That's all. You get me. Liverpool are very fortunate to have 4 wins. I think there comes, if you're doing it 4 times in a row or whatever, I think there comes a point where you've got to say, is it luck or is there something else going on here? And I think that's what it is. If it was just 1 or 2, I get it. But the fact it's happening multiple times tells us that there's more to it than just luck, I think. I agree that they can't do it across the entire season, but I don't know if it's just luck. I don't know. I'm smug because we've got underdog mentality, says Sam. Good point, yeah. Good point. When did I start the stream? I can't remember. It was 2:45, wasn't it, I think? Mate, if we win, I don't know what's going to happen. Right, what else shall we talk about? So we've discussed the derby and the potential evolution. What else? Marvel, don't spam. Don't spam. I shouldn't be seeing you comment more than once. Never mind 4 times. Don't spam, or I won't address your question. Don't do it. Naughty, naughty. Naughty, naughty. What are the Champions League expectations? I don't know. I don't expect us to win the Champions League. I expect us to do well. I know that we've had like a haphazard start to the season. I know we aren't perfect, but I expect us to get a lot better as the season goes on, as new players are integrated, as Reinders gets up to speed with the league. As you know, Shirky looked good when he was playing for us. In the main, it's a shame what's happened to him. When our injured players return, with Foden hopefully keeping those ridiculous levels that we know he's able to do, hopefully with Rodri coming back to the player that he can be. Unless we have like a mentally tricky run, because like if you get like in the round of 16, if you get PSG or Real Madrid and you get knocked out, then there's not much you can really do. But if we're assuming that you don't really face a properly difficult opponent until post round of 16, I think the quarterfinals is. I'm not saying I'd be happy if we get to the quarterfinals and get knocked out, but I feel like that's a good target. And someone should say it there, yeah. Sam says quarterfinals, and Ed said it, quarterfinals. There we go. I think that's reasonable. I think that's fair. I wouldn't expect, because I don't think we're the top 4 best side in Europe, and I know that that's not how the Champions League works, but in theory, in the semi-finals, there should be the 4 best sides in Europe. We all know that's not how it works, but in theory. But yeah, top 8. Top 8 is decent. I think that's fine. I think that's good. I'd like that. It's inevitable. Well, it's happening this season, isn't it? It's literally happening. It's literally happening. As long as we end up in the quarterfinal stage for the Champions League, I'm happy. I want the league more. We have to get it back. I agree. I agree. Hello, Contrarian. Great content later. Thank you very much. What do you think of the idea of sitting deeper versus Arsenal and attempting to hit them on the counter with Docker on left, Savio right, Holland, Foden? I'm not convinced that we have the personnel to do that. To sit deep against the better sides, I don't know if we've got the facilities for that. Because I know lots of people wanted that last year, but we didn't have that without Rodri in the side. I don't know if Rodri's at the level yet where he's going to enable us to do that either. So I'm going to say that I'd be concerned if we tried to play like that, because I don't think that we are defensively competent yet to do that. Does that make sense? That's what that's my take on it. Speak on Foden. Oh, with pleasure, with pleasure. If you guys know anything about me, if you've been to if you've seen any of my streams, if you've seen any of my videos, if you've been to any of my Twitch streams, shout out the Twitch, by the way. We're going to be live on Twitch tonight, 7 p.m. South Park, Stick of Truth, twitch.tv/LNobbins. Join me for that. If you know anything about me, you will know that I am an incredibly petty little bastard. Yeah? You'll know this about me. I don't let shit go. I remember shit. Okay? And I remember nearly every single username, either when it's on Twitter or YouTube, who were shitting on this man, saying sell him, saying he's not good enough to play for City, saying that a team with Foden in it is never going to win the title, that sort of thing. that his Player of the Year season was a flash in the pan. All these horrible things about him, all these untruths, all these insane reactive statements about him, just totally ignoring the reality. I remember all of you. I do not forgive. I do not forget. If you're watching this right now and you think I did, I didn't. I didn't. And do you know how petty I am? Do you know how petty I am? I have a fucking list on my phone. In my notes app. Enemies of the state, I call them. Yeah? That's how petty I am. I will, even if I forget, my phone won't. Yeah? The notes app doesn't forgive or forget either. Well, it can't forgive because it's not a fucking sentient being. I remember all of you. Yeah? So if you leave a little comment and you think, oh, Nobbins won't remember, I fucking will. Okay? And maybe we'll reveal that at the end of the season, yeah? When he has another great season for us. We'll do it. We'll do it. I could tell you, a lot of them are just on my block list on Twitter, to be fair. You know? That's how I can find out the Twitter ones. To be fair, I didn't really keep tabs on the Twitter ones. People on YouTube, though. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You're here. You're here. Little bastards. I've got a Death Note, yeah. This is my hit list. Yeah? So, yeah, anyway, that was just like a little aside. So that's just an example of how petty I am. Right? Yeah, Foden. Wonderful performance from him, wasn't it? And we all know that if City have any chance of being anything good this season, then Foden is going to have to be one of our best players. We know that is the state of play. I don't think it's a coincidence that last season, and to be fair, everyone struggled, but in a season where Foden struggled, City struggled. In order for us to have a good season, we are going to need Foden to play well. And we'll need all our best players to play well. We'll need Rodri to play well. Also, we need Haaland to play well as well, etc., etc., etc. Last season, there was a lot of shit going on. There was a lot of... And we all saw what was going on the pitch. But we know that Foden was missing Rodri. We also know that Foden just wasn't up to the levels that we would expect. It was massively taken out of context and massively overblown to a ridiculous degree by many City fans who are just, I don't know, expecting Player of the Year levels when the whole team is fucked. Weird. Even when he had like a good game, people were like, it's still not good enough. It's like, guys, he was the best player on the pitch. What we're doing here? What's that called? A confirmation bias. That's it. Where you want to see something, and even if it doesn't necessarily happen, you see it everywhere. That sort of thing. It was only a matter of time. There was a load of bullshit happening off pitch as well. It was only a matter of time that everything was going to come back, and he was going to return to the player that we know he can be. And that's exactly what happened. Rather, that's exactly what is happening. We've already seen it at the Club World Cup. I'm willing to say it now. I don't care. You can say, but Nobbins, it's only been one game. No, it hasn't just been one game. It was the Club World Cup. It was the Spurs cameo. It was the Manchester derby. Everything is pointing to it. Even his comments after it. Yeah, exactly, Sachin. And there's a lot more to it as well. He's even said like how he says you look at everything like everything's like negative and that sort of thing. It's ridiculous how many City fans abandoned him after everything he gave us. I think these people are scumbags, to be honest with you, and they aren't City fans in my opinion. They're just scumbags, and they don't support the club. They don't support our players. They just support winning, and they just support trophies. And they are. I dislike them. Yeah, I hate these people. I do not want to associate with these people. Yeah. It ain't gonna happen on this fucking channel. I'll tell you that right fucking now. Yeah? Not after one bad season. correction, one subpar season, because it wasn't even bad. And I'm going to stick by this. I'm going to fucking stick by this. Yeah? In his worst year for us, since he broke into the side, he was still our second best player in respective output. So he was still one of our best players last season. Is that saying much? No. Was it subpar for his very high standards? Yes. Was it bad in a vacuum? No. People go way too far the other way. Way too far the other way. We ain't having this shit. Not for a player who's been vital to our trophy success since about 2020. Not happening. I could even throw in 2019 if I really wanted to be an arse about it. We don't forgive and we don't forget. He was lovely, wasn't he, Samir? He was very lovely. I'm going to ask a question, and I want the whole chat to get involved. I think LB asked me this question. It was a really interesting one. I like the question. I'm going to steal it. You're building a team from scratch. Okay? Whatever blueprint you want, whatever formation you want, whatever system setup, blah, 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 blah. What do you guys think Foden's best position is? I want you to be as specific as possible. Now, this doesn't mean you have to build a team around him. We're not saying that. What do you think it is? Do you think it's false nine? Do you think it's second striker? Do you think it's wide player? Do you think it's false winger? Do you think it's a left 10? Do you think it's a right 10? Do you think it's a left 8? Do you think it's a right 8? Try to be as specific as you can and let me know what you think his best position is, because I'm genuinely very interested to hear what people have to say about it. I've got my thoughts, but I know that this is a split. Jack, I hate you so much. I hate you so much, man. Oh god. Does Foden get the start on Thursday? I don't know if you can or should. Because he you know that start against United? That was his and at 90 minutes, sorry. That was his first full 90 minutes since February. Which is insane. So that goes to show like the injury issues and everything else that's been happening since 2025 basically. That was his first, full 90 completed. I need him to start on Sunday. So I don't think I can have him start on Sunday and then start on Thursday and then start on Sunday when he's only played a full 90. The last time he played a full 90, was in February. So I think that I'd have him on the bench. And depending on game state, if it's like 0-0 or we're drawing or we're losing, I bring him on with like 30 minutes to go. But I'd like to not start him. Maybe give him like 30 minutes or something like that. I'll do it, man. I'll do it. I'll fucking do it, man. Inside. Oh, here we go. Right. Okay. Inside right. Yes, this is a very good position for him because this is the if you feel like the best version of Foden is the one who's going to be the biggest goal threat, then this is objectively his best position. I definitely agree with that because he's not good at shooting with his right foot. You're going to get better angles shooting from that right side. This is definitely a thing, definitely. Left of centre says ultimate. Right wing as an inside forward. Yeah, so that's sort of like a false winger sort of vibe then, isn't it? So you'd have like the right back pushing up, attacking midfielder, or a 10, says Anub. Anywhere, says Naveen, just in midfield. Midfield says 10 on the right. Yeah. Marfez attacking midfielder. An 8-10 like David Silva. False 9 for Cams. Second striker off the right. False 9. A right 8. Right 8. Shadow striker. A left 10. But hoping he peaks as a left 8. an 8 to right 8, 8-10 hybrid either side. Left 19. What's a left 19? I like the sound of, oh, sorry, left 10. There we go. That makes a lot more sense, Sarah. I was very confused then. False winger, shadow striker. A 10. It was a bad season. You know, when he didn't look like he even enjoyed playing football. The moment he found his joy back, he looks different instantly, says the citizen. Yeah. Whatever formation, he should be next to Rodri as an 8. Dual pivot with Rodri from the left-hand side. And in a 4-3-3 as a left central midfield. Foden is our Pedri, says AP. I think that with the players that we've brought in, like Shirky, I think that the best team City have will have both Shirky and Foden in it. I think the best way of accommodating Shirky is if you play Foden in that left 8. So that's my opinion. But I will say this, guys. As long as he's playing in midfield, I don't really care. As long as he's playing in midfield, I don't really care. I'm very happy that no one has said, basically, because even when someone said right wing, they specified inside forward. I'm very happy that no one is now saying, you know, play him at left wing, play him at right wing. I hope that in 2025, we need to be past... we need to be past this idea that he's a touchline winger anymore. He could do that in his younger, he's only 25, in his younger days, I think, when he was a far more explosive, direct player who hadn't really, or didn't really need to slow the game down, when his function was more so just charge at the opponent on the first time dribble and just like explode past him, that sort of thing. I think we're beyond that right now. I think we're beyond that. That was one element of his game. I think we're past that now for me. We're past that. He's added, because he's now clearly trying to add more control to his game and more horizontal work to his game rather than just being this vertical option. And I think he's always been that sort of player. He's always had that in his locker, but it was clear that when you have Fernandinho, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, you are never, ever going to be a midfielder. In that squad, it ain't ever going to happen. Never. So he had to, in order to get some football in his very early days, he had to play out wide, which is a very different discipline. Because it's not like we were playing him at left wing, but it was like a false winger vibe. Nah, he was just like a left winger, or a right winger, mainly a left winger, to be fair. And of course, when Aguero left, we had to play at false 9, and by the way, was our best false 9 option. I actually think that the shouts, I don't disagree that his best position is false 9, to be fair. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I don't agree with it, but I don't necessarily disagree. That's an oxymoron, but still. Because he does have the skill set for it, but that's a very specific skill, and we obviously have Holland, so it's a bit irrelevant. It was sort of like he had like the right skill set at the time, but as players leave, you know, Bernardo is past his best. Fernandinho left, I know Rodri came in, but Ferner left, David Silva left, Kevin De Bruyne is now gone, Gundogan's gone. Again, Bernardo's not the player he once was. He now has to take up that mantle. He has to be given that role in the midfield permanently now. I don't want to see any of this bullshit left-wing touchline wank or right-wing touchline wank. Even in his Player of the Year season, he wasn't particularly good in those games where he had to play as a touchline winger. He's just wasted there. Fortune for JS. You are a person of culture. And I'm not just saying that because you gave me a very generous super chat. That is what it says. That's not me. Person of culture. Big up to you, JS. We'll come to your super chat momentarily. Does not have the composure. Did you watch the derby? Did you watch Everton? Did you watch Real Madrid? Did you watch West Ham? Did you watch all the other fantastic games? Did you watch his Player of the Year season? Have Foden at right 8. Okay, as long as it's somewhere in the midfield, I don't really care. The reason why I consider his best position to be left of centre, and again, I'll just go back to this for a moment. I agree that if you want Foden to be this goal-scoring player, and that's basically it, then right of centre is absolutely the way to go, because that's where he's going to get the vast majority of his joy from shots. However, I think that you're just limiting him a little bit, because he's a far better creative player, a far better controller, and a far better overall player if it's left of centre. That's been the trend. That has been the trend whenever he's played left versus right. He's very different either side, and that's not inherently a bad thing. It's an interesting thing. It's a shame. I guess it's a shame because the reason why he has to be a totally different player is because his right foot is not good enough. And maybe in an ideal world, he would play right of centre, and he would still be able to have that midfield work to his game, but he simply doesn't as much on the right because of the angle bias. So that's why I'd say that you're getting a better version of him left of centre. But again, I don't really care as long as it's somewhere in the middle. But I'm happy so far we have seen him left of centre. Against Spurs, it was left of centre. Against United, it was left of centre. I would like to keep that up if we can. Advanced left 8, let him dictate from deep. Definitely, Stroud, definitely. 100%. Because people said, but Nobbins, you're not concerned that you'll take away his goal scoring if you play him like, if you give him the role of helping with the build-up. Not necessarily, because literally that first goal started with Foden building up from deep, and then he ends up heading it and scoring the goal. So he can do both. Again, the best box-crashing 8, the best goal-scoring 8 is Frank Lampard. Objectively, he's got the most goals. And that's what he was. He wasn't a 10. He was more of a box-to-box midfielder. There's no reason why he can't have both. And there's no reason why he can't have both. Phone left back. He did play left back sometimes in the Centurion season, didn't he? I'm pretty sure. Oh, I mean, I think the game was won in those moments, but still. Do I think Foden can be the replacement of Silva, which means what Silva normally drops deep? This is what I would love to see personally. Now Foden is his own player, and I do think that he's never going to be as good as David Silva. I don't think he's ever going to be as good as Kevin De Bruyne, because these are all timers we're talking about. So it would be very unusual if your academy player got up to those levels rather than an imported product. I don't think he'll ever be that level. I think he's a mixture of the two, though. At his best, he's a mixture of the two. He's not got the absolute levels of David Silva and all his best qualities, but he's got a good amount. And he doesn't have the absolute best qualities of Kevin De Bruyne, but he's got a good amount. Like, he's got the ball striking and the goal scoring from distance, but he's also got the tempo work of David Silva and the first touch of David Silva as well. And his idol growing up is David Silva, and they're both left-footed. I really think that is what I'd like to think that is what he will be ultimately. I'd like to think that. He can. I've seen him do it. He did it on Sunday. He did it on Sunday. What are we doing? He was literally controlling the tempo and dictating from deep. Hello? He can. He has. I've seen it. What are we doing? Jay says, the agenda that annoyed me the most last year was that Phil is a player that can only cut inside and shoot from the right house. Yeah. Oh my God, guys. The amount of fucking rants I had about this last season. The amount of rants I had to have about this last season. And correct idiots. Now this myth, because it is a fucking myth, this started from rival fans in his Player of the Year season. Think of that. In a season where he won us the title and was Player of the Season, and if City did better in the Champions League, you could say that he could have been up for the Ballon d'Or, because that's how it fucking works. The league performance was certainly up there to warrant it. People were still trying to discredit him in that season by saying that he's missed a turn and shoot. And it was basically, and apologies if you are an Arsenal fan, I'm not saying all Arsenal fans are like this, but it was, from what I saw on Twitter, it was primarily Arsenal fans who started that rumour and myth. And that's what it is. There is no other player in the world where they are already a fantastic player and they add game-breaking goal scoring to their game, and people will view that as a negative. And people try to say that Foden isn't held to high standards. Find me another example where that has ever happened in the history of football. Excellent player adds unbelievable attributes to their game. Negative. Find me another example of that. You can't. I'm very convinced you can't. I've never seen that shit before. In any other footballer, that would be viewed as an amazing positive. Wow, he's added consistently scoring goals from outside the box. Oh my God. Nah, that's a bad thing, apparently, because as you say, now he's missed a turn and shoot. Before his Player of the Year season, if you had a chat about Foden and you said, right, what are his best attributes? No one would have ever said that turning and shooting was his best. Was it like even a top 3 attribute? I would contest. Then people would say that it was his passing, his first touch, maybe his dribbling, maybe his control overall. I'd say it might not even be a top 5 attribute. Versatility would be another one. I'd wager that before his Player of the Year season, the vast majority of people wouldn't have even suggested that turning and shooting is a top 5 attribute of his. The fact is, he added it to his game. But now he's only a turn and shoot player. Well, that just tells me that you're an idiot, quite frankly. And that tells me that you're a moron. And that tells me you don't know what you're talking about. TBH. Well, Foden can't create. Well, that tells me you're an idiot. And that tells me you're a moron. That tells me that I'm having a valueless conversation here. He had dog shit expected assists against United. I think it was like 0.02. You tell me where the absence of creativity was in that second goal. The great touch and the little flick to Doku. He helped create that goal. This is why people need to watch City matches and actually understand City matches. I don't get it. I feel like I've ranted a lot there, chat. Hopefully that was interesting. Been live for like another... how long have we been live for, actually? Another like 5 minutes, I'll say. Another 5 minutes, because I'm quite hungry. I need to go eat some food. Okay, chill, The Dark Knight. Chill. We're not doing that. Chill. Hey, young, come late. No worries, Hoodie Dax. Love that from you. And from me, yeah, that was something as well. This pissed me off. Again, was Foden excellent in the Euros? No. But what were England's best games in the Euros? Let's refresh our memory briefly. Briefly do that, shall we? Dev Data, no one is saying that he's an elite creator. People were saying last season that he can't create, or that he isn't creative. No one has to be Kevin De Bruyne, or Shirky. You don't have to hit these ridiculous numbers to be a great creator. There were some seasons where David Silva's expected assist wasn't particularly high. It's always about the assist before the assist, though, in those instances. He absolutely can't. Yeah, that's another thing as well. He's not good defensively. He can't press. Just say that you don't know what you're talking about, man. But yeah, just going back to this. England, I thought, were good for 2 games. Yeah, big up to Kenya. I thought England were good for 2 games in the Euros. We were shit in the group stages. Am I misremembering? I'm going to have to look back now. One sec. I don't want to misquote. I feel like we were shit in the groups. There were 2 knockout games I want to talk about, though. England results. Let's have a look, see. Yeah, we were shit against Serbia. We were a little bit better against Denmark. We were shit against Slovenia. We were shit against Slovakia. We were very good against Switzerland. We were good against the Netherlands. We were shit against Spain. 2 games where we're actually good Foden was our best player. It's weird, isn't it? I'm playing in midfield. That's weird, isn't it? It's weird, isn't it? Nobbins, you have an agenda. Shut the fuck up. It's my cock. How about that? How about that for an agenda? How about my dick in your mouth is an agenda? How about that? How about them apples? Knobheads. Right. On that note, because I brought up sucking that, and we're gonna end the stream there. It's time to wrap it up. In more ways than one. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe. I'm going to be live on the Twitch tonight, where I'm even more unfiltered. Yeah? I'm even less filtered on the Twitch. Let's see if the bot actually wants to work. Or am I going to have words? I am going to have words. Okay, that's a bit annoying. Let's go to... Oh my goodness me, what was that? I'm live on Twitch tonight, 7 PM. If you want even more unfiltered Nobbins, click that link. I'm a passionate guy, guys. I'm a passionate guy. You know what I mean? Go click that link. We talk about football on the Twitch. We talk about just like general vibes. You get to know a bit more about me as well. So if you like me, click the link. Come follow the Twitch. We're playing South Park: The Stick of Truth right now. It's a very fun game. We just finished playing Red Dead Redemption 2. That's a question before we go. Should we stream a Champions League game on Wednesday? Shall we do a watch along? Would we like that, or do we not really care? That final question before I go, because we play on Thursday. Normally, I would do a gaming stream on Twitch on Wednesday, sorry. But there are some interesting games. Bayern Chelsea, Liverpool Atletico Madrid, Julian Alvarez. Shall we stream PSG Atalanta? Shall we do a watch along? Those are the games. Because I'm not streaming Ajax Inter, I'll be very honest. Bayern Chelsea could be fun. Vinny, you know? Or Liverpool Atleti. Or both. We can actually do both. But those are two pretty interesting games, I'd say. What do we need more? Nico G stepping up or Rodri back in form? Rodri back in form. Julian's out injured. Oh, fuck that. Oh, we'll watch Bayern Chelsea then. For Vinny. We've got to do that. If Alvarez is injured, I am watching Atletico. I'll be very honest. There we go. We can do... I guess we can have it on in the background, but the primary focus will be Bayern Chelsea. Definitely. Definitely, if that's the case. For sure, for sure, for sure. For sure, for sure, for sure. Sava raid. Oh! Hello, Football Heritage TV. Big up to Sava. I think I've only ever met Sava once. A big up to Sava. Thank you very much. That's very generous of you. Thank you very much. Sava raid. It happened again. Spurs win at the Etihad. What the hell? Thank you, Sava, for the raid. We're just about to wrap up here, I'm afraid, but thank you so much for joining. Liverpool Atleti would be actually good to see how attacking really is for Liverpool. In short, for England, it's just full of talents that gives you a headache. Who's going to be in the starting 11? No, indeed. Yeah, Alvarez injury. We will not be streaming the Atletico game. We'll do a watch along for Bayern Chelsea, though. We'll do a stream for Liverpool Atleti for sure, for sure. No worries, Herbal. I'm sorry, we are about to wrap up, Herbal, so I'm sorry you have missed a stream, but feel free to rewind. We talk about the match, potential change in system for City. We touch on Foden and how people are knobheads. And we just have like a general chat about the Napoli game as well. As I say, guys, I'm on Twitch tonight, 7 PM, South Park: The Stick of Truth. I'm also, I believe, we should... Yes, I will be on We Are the South Stand at 6 o'clock. So feel free to join for that as well. Until then, though, actually, before we go, big up to all my beautiful members. Let's get them up on the screen. Let's get them up on the screen before we leave. There we go. Shout out to all my amazing, beautiful members of the channel. If you guys would like to support your boy, then you can do so first of all by leaving a like, which is free. If you want to go the extra mile and join these beautiful people, join the Hall of Fame, you can do so by clicking the join button or the link in the video description. You can do so for as little as £3 a month. If you want to go the extra mile, I mean, there's people you can have like a blue name or a gold name, in fact. Then you can do that as well because there are different membership tiers. I've not updated this, to be fair, Jack. I've not updated this. I do need to update this. That's my bad. You will be on the next one. I apologize. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you tonight on Twitch. 7 p.m. Twitch.tv/LNobbins. Goodbye, guys.